happened to your eyes?
Where we're going, we won't need eyes to see.
In this video, we're going to find out more about the latest DLC for Stellaris, Astral Planes. We've been given new information on Astral Scars, Astral Rifts, Dimensional Spheres, and Astral Threads. If you want to know what all of these things are, stick around and find out more. This developer diary starts with a large section about Gary Moritz, or Atmaz, the lead game designer on the Astral Planes DLC from Abracam Entertainment. I'm not going to go through all of Atmaz's backstory. If you want to read that, go and check out the dev diary. Instead, we're going to focus on the Stellaris topics. What are Astral Rifts? In each galaxy, there are points at which the boundaries of space and time are weaker than others. Once discovered, they will appear to players as Astral Scars. We're currently seeing an Astral Scar on our screen right now. These scars are not large enough to be explored, but they do leak through a significant amount of astral material, which may be of some use to us. We'll get to what astral material is in a moment as well. For the eagle-eyed amongst you, you'll notice this is very similar to the scar we see in the trailer footage for this new DLC, and it also looks a lot like the dimensional breach the Unbidden cause when they enter our galaxy from another realm. More to think about there later. Over time, it may happen that these scars become unstable. Probably not good. After blossoming into a fully blown astral rift, they are then open for us to explore. These astral rifts take us to the somewhere else that exists beyond our known universe. Basically, it's like the Medusa Cascade from Doctor Who, I'm pretty sure here. However, we cannot simply dive into one of these things. The chaotic energies involved in these phenomena would literally tear our scientists into the base components of the universe. Yeah, there's probably a lot of forces at work there. You'll need to find a way to slip through more carefully. This is then where Rift Sphere technology enters the picture. Now, before I dive in any further, as someone with a physics background, I've got some interesting questions about what's going on here. First off, this sphere we're diving in with, the thing you can see on your screen now, a rift sphere, what it does is it is very, very smooth, impossibly smooth, in fact. Let's find out more about that. So, achieving perfect smoothness on any object is incredibly difficult, if not impossible. Apparently, it has been achieved here on Earth on a very small scale with what is known as the quantum stabilized atom mirror earlier this century. Yes, but that's very, 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 I mean, it's very tiny. Anyway, but in most practical cases, we cannot accomplish this. The James Webb Telescope, for example, has a reflective surface polished to an average roughness of 20 nanometers, which is a lot in terms of in atomic terms. That's massive mountains and valleys. But that is quite smooth according to the dev diary, but we need to go even smoother to safely enter a rift sphere and have a vessel large enough to accompany a team of scientists. This will take some scientific effort on our part, but once complete, we'll be able to begin exploring other planes of existence. So the plan here is making a smooth sphere. So smooth that, and I'm a bit confused on this one, maybe the smoothness means that the forces don't act on the occupants. Perhaps it's acting like some sort of Faraday cage, basically, where in terms of, we have an electromagnetic field playing over, the Faraday cage is going to prevent that field from acting on anything inside the cage. Perhaps this smooth sphere does the same with all forces, gravitational, weak nuclear, strong nuclear, everything. And therefore we can then enter. I'm not sure what the smoothness has to do with it. Maybe that's required for some sort of field, or perhaps the science fiction here is that once we get it to that level of smoothness, all external forces simply kind of wash over it. But then how do you attach this tether? Very confusing. A lot of things to think about. Let's plow on though. Conceptually, the Rift Sphere device is loaded onto our science ships and shot like a bullet into the center of a rift. It possesses basic propulsion capabilities, but for the most part is otherwise helpless on the other side. So it can move around. Interesting. Does that then mean that it has holes in the sphere, or is it, able to affect the external fields. Maybe it has some sort of gravitational pull it can exert on the base space-time to be able to move. In which case, how is it that these forces aren't acting on the sphere? A lot of questions, this is why a cable is tethered from its point of origin to allow for retrieval, of course. I assume that cable is super smooth as well, but anyway. This lifeline also serves as a means to send reports and other information from between universes. Why isn't that cable crushed? I don't know. Let's move on. And if you're enjoying this video, please achieve perfect smoothness with that like button. So one goal the devs had with Astral Planes was to provide more opportunities for exploration into the mid and late game. At a certain point, after all systems are explored and all archaeological sites are exhausted, there naturally tends to be not much out there left to see. Yes, this is a big problem. The mid to late game means that your scientists have generally been completely useless, especially the ones with the explorer traits that can no longer explore anything. Where Astral Rifts helps out in this regard is that they are generally not present at map start. They will procedurally open over the course of the game. This means that even in a fully explored system, something new can still appear within your borders to take a look at. And we have here another example of one of the Astral Rift chains. The Dimensional Machine, whatever this place is, it has been made with a purpose in mind. This machine is reaching into many universes. The movement of its massive components are creating turbulence in the dense atmosphere, making it difficult to steady our instruments. With some rudimentary manipulation, we could slip one of the shafts loose and use it to jam a pair of the rotating cogs. This would quiet the agitation of the atmosphere, allowing for a more intimate study of this impressive machinery. We can see on the bottom right, we can either not interfere for a difficulty level of 1 for the next stage, or jam the gears at a much higher difficulty level of 6. That is interesting. It's also interesting that there's a giant machine ripping holes in space-time to explore other universes. Perhaps it's operated by some sort of ministry of time. The significant difference between exploring a rift and exploring an archaeological site is that our scientists are in the middle of a live situation. We just noticed there was an increase in difficulty level if you pick jam the gears. You're not digging up the past and learning about what it was, you are discovering something that currently is. This generally means that your scientists are often in much more danger, and decisions will need to be made on how to proceed based on the information you are currently given. On top of that, time can move much differently inside of a rift, where years have passed on one side and only minutes have on the other end. That could present some really interesting issues where your scientists waste away perhaps, unless they don't go in the spheres and they stay in the ships. We will have to see. More steps inside of an astral rift will provide a choice, and often they will have varying difficulty levels. You may choose to go the easier path to protect your scientists, or brave the danger and hope whatever it is they are trying is a success. A heavy risk versus reward concept is present during these explorations. Something we've wanted to know for a while is outlined here. There are multiple results that can be achieved from exploring every rift. So that means there are at least 2, if not more, outcomes for every rift, and there are over 30 rifts. This somewhat backs up my idea that we aren't getting branching at every choice, so there isn't kind of a complexity level of a factor of 2 every time we get to a decision. Instead, some of these branches are going to come back and converge nearer the end. Inside of many of these rifts are brand new relics we can find. There are 8 relics coming with this next DLC, and provided we make the right choices, we can get them, and provided our scientists actually survive those choices. There are not just relics that we can find, however. Nearly every rift contains some sort of possible unique reward, from new faction modifiers to planetary decisions to even recruitable leaders. I really hope we can find some alternate reality leaders of our own civilization. That would be really, really cool. You're entering other places far from your own that have any number of exotic things to discover. There are even more things, however, that you can bring back with you from inside these rifts. And they are called Astral Threads. It's what we're currently looking at on screen now. So, Astral Threads are a new resource we can get hold of. For each Astral Rift completed, we will unlock Astral Actions. We haven't seen exactly what those actions are yet, but in a previous reveal, we have seen some of the images. It looks like one is definitely creating your own wormhole. That's pretty cool. This here also shows that we increase our Astral Thread storage capacity based on the Astral Rifts we complete. Astral Threads are filaments of condensed space-time, the result of dimensional planes colliding with one another. They can be spent to enact various empire-wide effects. Basically, we're going to be getting some nice bonuses, it sounds like, by completing these Astral Rifts, unlocking Astral actions, and then using them. Next week, the developers are going to look in further detail at the Astral actions, and we're going to find out more about what Abra Khan have been working on with Stellaris. If you've enjoyed this video covering Astral Scars and Rifts, 2 new mechanics in the Astral Planes DLC for Stellaris, but you want more information, you probably want to know everything we know so far. If you'd like to hear me break down all of the information we have on this latest DLC, click the video on screen now.